Welcome to the Automation Unplugged podcast, the podcast for technology professionals, featuring leading industry personalities. I'm your host, Ron Callis.
Let's get started.
Hello there. Ron Callis with another episode of Automation Unplugged. Today we are here for one of our new marketing education segments. And I'm very excited to bring you from our team, Katie Frogge. She's a senior account manager and product specialist. Katie joined the One Firefly team in March of 2022 as an account manager. And in February of 23, Katie was promoted to senior account management, as well as she gained ownership over two of our products here at One Firefly, and that is Review Champ and local online listing management under our SEO category of products, which we launched earlier this year. Katie has been in digital marketing since early 2015 and is passionate about helping business owners find success in their online marketing efforts. Katie has now been to multiple CEDIAs and industry events. Many of you have likely met her. Some of you may also be fortunate, and she might be your account manager. She's one of our awesome bench of account managers here at One Firefly. So let me go ahead and bring in Katie, and we're going to be talking about reputation management today. Katie, how are you?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
I am awesome. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little tired. My son is doing Science Olympiad. I say this season, it's a 6-month season,
Wow.
but he has an event this week, actually up at Cornell. And one of the events, let's just say there might've been some late night testing and calibrating happening past midnight. And good old dad was right there beside him. So a
That's
little
so
bit
awesome.
less sleep than normal, but I'm going to give you and our audience 100% of what I have here, Katie.
That's awesome. Well, I know that you eat, sleep, and breathe robotics and all of those kinds of things. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And I think it's really cool that you're right there beside him, walking him through this journey. So kudos to you. That's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. It was a mix of back pain and fatigue as I was standing on a ladder 12 feet up in the air, holding a bungee cord, dropping weights, and he was calibrating it with a high-speed camera from his iPhone. And I was like, it's kind of neat, but I'm totally sore and wish I was in bed. But we'll move on beyond that. Today, we're going to talk about reputation management. And you have very kindly put together some slides for us, and we're just going to jump right in. We want to try to offer some of your wisdom to our audience. And I'll actually just start out with, what is reputation management, Katie? What does that even mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So reputation management is it's very simple. It's just how others view your business on the internet. And there's kind of two components to it. When you talked about the products that I own here at One Firefly and operate, there's the online listing management. So that's your Google business profile, your Bing, being active on those platforms and just consistently adding new content to them. But then there's also the reviews portion of reputation management. And that is so important and what I would really like to dive in and talk about today.
Awesome. Well, let's do that. And for our listeners, I'll just describe to you visually what's on the slide. There's a definition of reputation management. It says, monitoring and improving the digital channels where your brand has a presence in order to enhance public perception of your business. And then there's some arrows going out to some different environments. It looks like maybe Google, Facebook, and Houzz. So what is the difference in the world of reputation management, Katie, across, the Google or Bings of the world versus social media versus all these other places? For example, you've got Houzz here on the screen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, if you can imagine, perceptions are formed about your business when people do a simple internet search. So They're going to see your online profiles like House or Facebook or Google. They're going to see reviews. They're going to see star rating. They're even going to see your website, pages of your website, your social media posts, just anywhere that you're practicing building a reputation online. And really, it is about paying attention to improving and influencing public perceptions of your brand or your business. So, management involves monitoring all of those digital channels across the board, anywhere that your brand has a presence. That's really in what it means as a whole.
So you and I both know our customers in the custom integration industry, both I would even say residential and commercial, but maybe leaning more towards resi, would tell you or me that most of their work comes through referral. And so I'm going to challenge you. Does reputation management play into that process of decision making, even if the majority of the workflow coming to a business is through referral?
Yeah, no, absolutely. A solid reputation online with positive feedback from people who have done business with your brand captures the attention of potential referrals or business or consumers that have been referred to your business. And also signals to everyone else that your business is trustworthy. And I do hear that a lot to hear about people in our industry that say referral is the number one resource that their work comes in through. And if you actually click over to the next slide, I want to talk about the buyer journey a little bit and how that this plays a part in it. A typical buyer journey starts with awareness of your brand, right? And then it moves into a consideration phase and then a decision phase or a purchase. And then finally, we've got either returning business where the customer comes back to you at a later date or you get referrals, you know? And so this all ties together with reviews. And it's not only about gaining positive reviews for potential referral based business, but also too, I want to hone in on the importance of actually responding to reviews as well. That is a huge aspect of something that a lot of people don't realize. Positive or negative feedback. And the truth is that buyers prefer businesses that demonstrate openness and commitment to resolving issues or praising their customers for leaving feedback, and just acknowledging a customer who took the time to give that feedback. And it really does. And if you think about reputation management as a whole and how you should be proactively doing that through your channels online, when you do get that referral based business, people are going to come to the internet and they're going to look and they're going to see that you've built that trustworthiness online.
I'm curious. You work with a bunch of integrators, and we're not going to name any names. We're going to protect the guilty.
Yeah.
What is normal for integrators online in terms of maybe their Google reviews, the quantity of reviews, or the quantity of reviews they have across other platforms you've observed?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say that there is a sweet spot for conversion with reviews. So usually about 20 to 50 reviews is a great starting point, right? And we're going to talk about this here in just a little bit about what Google references when they're looking to help you rank online and to put your business up above your competition. And reviews are a huge part of that. But really, it's about slow and steady is really what wins the race. Consistent feedback on a consistent basis, month in and month out, gaining new positive reviews. And also too, not being afraid of a negative review that might come up every once in a blue moon. It's very hard to please everyone, and that's going to happen from time to time. But it is really just about gaining positive reviews on a consistent basis. So
You have us on the slide I just clicked to. It says social proof. People look to others' behaviors, options, and opinions to guide their own buying decisions. So I guess at a high level, what role are you positing that reviews play in the decision-making process for most consumers?
yeah, well, social proof is a psychological concept where people are looking to others' behaviors and options to guide them in their own buying decisions, right? So it's very simple. The more people that advocate for a business, the more likely it's going to instill trust in the quality of that business, which then just lead to more conversions and more opportunities to grow a business. And I'll give an example. My husband and I moved to Greenville, South Carolina about a year ago. And we didn't know anyone when we moved here. We didn't have any family that was local. Some people thought we were crazy, like, oh, you're just moving to this place where you don't know anyone. But we really looked at it as an adventure and we built a great life here so far in the last year. But we have a dog. His name is Jake. He's pretty popular in One Firefly. He made it into some slide decks and on social media posts and things like that, and he
Celebrity puppy for sure.
oh, yeah, he definitely is. He's in SOPs and trainings. I mean, he pops up everywhere.
Now we're
So
gonna have to add a picture of him, so when we post this, onto our channels on Facebook and YouTube, we're gonna have to put down in the comments a picture of Jake. Anybody that
oh,
watches this interview is gonna, "Alright, I gotta see this
I gotta
puppy."
see Jake. He really
Yeah.
is just the cutest little teddy bear. And so, his health is extremely important to me and his longevity and all of those things. And when we moved to a new area, again, not knowing anyone, we were doing research, right, of where we were going to take Jake for his healthcare needs. So we're looking for a new veterinarian. Outside of asking friends and things like that and people that we've came in contact with in the community, we started doing online research for local veterinary offices in our area. And this really just plays into that concept of social proof because one of the very first things that I was doing, and I'm in marketing, right? I know these tactics, I know the things that work, but I'm also a human and I'm also just an average person that's a consumer out here. And one of the first things that I did was I started looking at reviews, and reading about experiences. And if a veterinary office had a review that was from 2 to 3 years ago, I kind of dismissed it in a way, because I'm thinking, wow, they're not engaged. There's not people that's leaving feedback on a consistent basis. And I want to hear real human experience. I want to hear people that have recently done business with that veterinary office and what their experience was and how that they cared for their animal and the love and support that they really put in there. And so that's one of the things that I was doing. And we honestly do it every day. We do it with restaurants. We do it when we need an HVAC guy that comes out or a plumber, or we're looking at schools. I mean, even for our kids and preschools and daycares. I mean, this concept of social proof, again, is a psychological concept and it truly plays a huge part in a buying decision and a buyer's journey. And not
I'm
only does
curious, Katie, can I ask about your puppy situation? You
it,
chose a vet based on the reviews. When you started taking your puppy there, were you did the experience match what you were consuming online or reading about them?
oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel so great about taking Jake in. He's actually going in for a teeth cleaning next week where he has to be put under anesthesia. And I feel so safe when he's there. I feel like he's safe, he's well cared for. And, as reviews were a starting point of that. And then I dove into their website and their care and, all of those things. But reviews is one of the first things that I looked at when I went to make that decision. So, and I'll just say, this concept of social proof is really about putting a human face on a business, right? No longer is a potential buyer just seeing a branded logo or a product description or a page on your website, but it's real people sharing real experiences. And that's really what influences a buying decision. So that's why reviews are so important and consistency is so important.
I won't name specifics, but when I got my last car, I went and read reviews. I knew I wanted an SUV, and so I went and read reviews, and I found what online was being reviewed as the best SUV in this class. And I went searched the internet. It was all about various ranking sites and review sites. I went into the car dealer and I said, I'll buy this car. And he's like, "Get me to bring it around so you can test drive it." I was like, "Well, it's the best, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Then I'll take it." He's like, "You don't wanna test drive it." I said, "Am I gonna be disappointed?" He's like, "No." I said, "Then why do I need to test drive it? The reviews told me that it's the best." He's like, "You're strange." But I was like, "That's true, I am strange." But I bought the car.
Yeah.
And, I think that often our industry wants to tell us as marketers that, quote, they don't I mean, dare I say, they don't need marketing or they don't do marketing. But something like reviews and just proactively managing that and building that social proof online, guess what? That is marketing. I mean,
Yeah,
this is marketing, right,
it
Katie?
is 100%. And I do. I think it's so funny. I mentioned it a minute ago where it's like I'm in the marketing space. I've been in this space for almost 10 years. Ron, you've been here for a long time as well. You own a business, but take that outside of us and think about us just as normal humans and our buying decisions and the way that we gather our information. It's kind of a no-brainer, and being interactive with your reputation management. Um,
Right. Now, I just clicked on the next slide. There's a pie chart of sorts. I'll give the title and I'll let you fill in all the blanks here, but it
yeah.
says local search ranking factors, and it's got a bunch of things around it. You've circled on this diagram Google My Business signals
Mhm.
25% and review signals 15%. So you can add those two together, it's about 40%. So what are you presenting here?
Yeah, so I'm really talking about the Google algorithm, and I joke when I'm holding trainings or educating industry experts on the importance of reviews because I'm like, hey, it's a real thing, whether you want it to be or not. We talk about it a lot as marketers, but it is real, and the algorithm itself is broken into tons of different factors when it comes to how your business is going to rank online. And a couple of the things that I wanted to point out here was that your Google business profile is so important and a robust profile that's being updated consistently, has photos, you're responding to Q&As, you're adding new products and posting on Google, your Google business profile, doing all of those things is so important. And it does make up about 25% of Google's algorithm when it's determining how it's going to rank a business online and in their local area. But Google also separates the business profile in the reviews. And while the reviews are part of a business profile, it does separate it into its own class. And it does make up about 16% of the local search algorithm. And it's not just necessarily looking at Google reviews. I would argue that Google reviews are obviously the end all be all, right? Google is the dominant search engine. It's definitely where people are doing the majority of their research. But Google also is looking at other channels and other avenues as well to make up that 16%. So that's Facebook recommendations, that's Yelp, that's Better Business Bureau, Bing, all of these different things make up those ranking factors as well. So that's why they do separate it, is because it's not just about Google reviews, it's about your review reputation across the board. So that really is why those two are highlighted. And it's interesting to find that Google actually separates them in a way.
Yeah,
You wouldn't think that.
fascinating.
Yeah,
Taking a peek under the hood of how Google works. It's a complex puzzle for sure.
it definitely is. That is for sure.
So what we're looking at here, there's a slide. It looks like you've got a snapshot from an integrator out of Chicago, NVIDIA, and you're showing a review. And then underneath of that review, you're showing a real-time response. And it says, what is Google looking at? So what are you describing here?
Yeah. So I wanted to just educate our listeners today about what is Google looking for to influence ranking factors, right? When it comes to reviews, like I'm talking about, hey, it's good to get reviews and you want to, respond to those reviews and, monitor your reputation online. But really, what is Google looking at to help, rank your business when it comes to these things? And it can be broken down in four categories you can see here. I've got it on the screen: quantity, recency, quality, and responses. And my goal here was just to really educate people to help them understand what the goal is with gaining positive reviews, or not just positive reviews, but just reviews in general. When we talk about review quantity, it's really the number of reviews that a business has, and it is an indicator to Google of how popular that business is. Um, and a lot of people ask me, and you actually asked me a moment ago, how many reviews should a business have? And again, I stated that anywhere between 20 and 50 is a good starting point. It is a sweet spot for a higher conversion, a customer conversion rate, right? Them actually reaching out to you, inquiring about your services, and opening an opportunity for a potential job. But really, it's not just about gaining about 20 to 50 reviews. I don't want people to think that's what I'm saying. It's really about slow and steady. That's what wins the race. I want people to be aware that a large influx of reviews all at one time, whether it's within a couple of days or a couple of weeks or even within a month, can really trigger Google spam filters. So people always want to know, what is that sweet spot? If I have 100 reviews, I'm going to be constantly ranking high on Google, and that's just not the case. And so review quantity is extremely important, but I think the following 3 points are really what is the most important. And the next one would be recency. Google is prioritizing businesses with a steady flow of recent feedback, and that reflects a current engaged customer base. That's really what they're looking for. That's why just one set of reviews isn't necessarily the number one goal there.
So it would be bad if somebody went and worked really hard for like a quarter, cranked in a bunch of reviews, and then stopped getting reviews. Like, how would Google review that? Or how would Google perceive that if let's pretend they did that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Google is extremely smart. They're very, very smart. Their algorithm is very smart. And they would look at that as a little bit spammy, to be honest. It is important to, again, recency is important, quantity is important. But if you were to pump out, like you said, a large number of reviews in a period, and then your customer base drops off, you can kind of look at it as how a consumer would look at it in a way too. If I was looking at that business and I saw that in the month of 2 months ago, they gained 25 positive reviews, and now we're looking at, 6 months down the line from when those reviews were left and there's no engagement there anymore, that to me just screams fishy. It's
Like, what happened to the business? Did they go
what
out of
happened to the
business?
business? And people aren't dumb. People know that businesses solicit for reviews, and it's very easy to say, hey, they were really trying to gain some positive feedback to either bury a negative review or up their star rating or whatever the case is, and then they've just dropped off. So how genuine is that feedback? And Google kind of looks at it in that way as well.
No, that makes sense. Your last slide here is client success story, and it says synergy integrated systems. What was the project here?
Yeah, so this Synergy is a great example of a client that really takes reputation management seriously. I've worked with them, I've educated them, and they've been involved in this process for a long time. And it's interesting. At the beginning of the year, this year, they had a 4.5-star rating on Google, and they had a decent amount of reviews. But they've really been adopting this concept of reputation management, and I do think that a responsible business owner will take hold of this concept and be very diligent in maintaining their reputation online. And Synergy is a great example of that. They have not only gained significant number of positive reviews in the last year, but they also have been able to increase their star rating from a 4.5 to a 5-star, which is just incredible. A great success story.
Does a business need a 5-star rating? Is it 5-star or bust, or is there an acceptable range which is still deemed to be a quality score for a business?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. 5-star or bust is not the answer, actually. A 4.5 is a great star rating. I would say anything 4.5 and above is a great star rating. A lot of people think that a 4.7 is not good enough. They want to hit that 5-star rating. But in the reality, that truly doesn't matter as long as you're within that range. I wouldn't even argue to say that a 4-star rating is not the end of the world. I think that it's really about the review quality, the review recency, and the amount of feedback that you're constantly getting from your customers. Again, we can't please everyone. There's always going to be a bad apple. So I would focus all day and every day on, again, just getting more quality reviews and more quantity on a consistent basis.
So you've covered the ground of why reviews matter, Katie.
Mhm.
I now would love you to cover, how do you actually get them?
Yeah.
And again, not being self-promotional to
Mhm.
us or to our tools, but just big picture. Folks that
Yeah.
go, man, I believe you, Katie. This seems like something I should pay attention to. What are the proven methods or techniques that you've seen work?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. There's tons of ways that you can organically try to gain positive reviews. Couple of just really simple things that you could implement pretty quickly is maybe something in your email signature. You could link to your Google Business profile and add that into your email signature. Maybe invoices, having a QR code on an invoice or that links to the Google profile or any profile across the internet. You can organically ask, obviously, when you just for our industry's sake, let's say someone is wrapping up a job, they're finishing an install. It's very easy for them just to say, "Hey, would you mind leaving us a review on Google?" All of those are great concepts, and some work really well, and others not so much. I would say that organically asking is probably the least successful, and I'll explain why. Because if you think about it, I mean, I'm sure Ron, you've been asked to leave a review before for a business organically and you let's just paint a picture. Let's say that you had a beautiful experience with that business. They exceeded your expectations. And in your heart of hearts, you really wanted to go and leave them a review. But you had to go help Max with his projects.
Something.
Yeah. Piper, your dog has to go to the vet. You've
Yeah.
got obligations and things and family things. And well, my point is that life shows up, right? And
Right.
when life shows up, it's very easy for us to put those things on the back burner. And it doesn't mean that we're bad people. It's just that we're human, right? And that business owner did not put a process in front of me to be able to make it easy for me, right? So there's tons of softwares out there that can help make this process easier. Shameful plug, One Firefly has a software that I actually manage that we can do that for you. And it just makes it super, super easy to solicit feedback via text message and a quick link to your customer. And there's tons of softwares out there that can do this.
Walk
Yeah.
walk us through the recommendation. How should someone listening, how would they engage the customer to have a higher probability of ultimately yielding a review online?
Yeah, absolutely. So step one, what I would tell anyone that I'm talking to this about is to ask when you're face to face with your customer. Through an email or through a follow up later on or something like that. Yes, you're still putting the opportunity in front of them. By all means, do that. But face to face connection is going to yield about a 30 to 35 to 40% conversion rate. Whereas through an email or something like that is only going to be about 10 to 15%. So step one is really just being in front of your customer. I would encourage that when you're in front of your customer that you ask them about their experience. Try to resolve any issues that they might have before you go and ask them to leave you a review. Gauge their satisfaction level. Try to resolve those issues. And then I would go in and ask for a favor. Asking for a favor just really influences the person that's being asked to want to provide help. And once you've done that, I would say be humble and go in and request that review. I was working with a business just yesterday that's been in business for 44 years, a long-standing reputation in the community, lots of referral-based business, but there's an influx of people moving into this community, houses being built, all of these things, and they really needed to ramp up their online reputation through all of this education. As I've just done with you, I was able to convince them, hey, this is a good idea. And my advice to them was just be humble. Hey, we've been in business for 44 years, but we're really working on building up our online reputation. Would you mind leaving us a review? And they're going to say yes every single time. And if you have a piece of software that makes it easy to put a process in front of them, then your success rate is going to be much, much higher.
What would be your closing argument to anyone watching or listening to this interview, Katie, in terms of your advice on how and why they should take their online reputation seriously?
Yeah, I said it before and I'll say it again, and I say it a lot of times when I'm talking to people about this, is that I truly believe in my heart of hearts that a responsible business owner will take control of their online reputation and will rally their team around them to help them build that reputation up. It can't be just that one person. It has to be a bought-in effort across the team. And everyone needs to have that. We talk about it here at One Firefly a lot, that owner mentality versus renter, And I would also tie in just the concept of social proof. It is a real thing. I think that we've all experienced it. And again, a responsible business owner will 100% take action and take this bull by the horns and make sure that they're managing their reputation.
If you were to offer a free tip that would increase the probability of getting a team engaged,
Mhm.
what would that be? What's the best way to get a team mobilized? So it's not just the business owner, trying to make this happen, but how could they get, as you said, the owners on their team, the people that are leaning in and
Mhm.
want to see the company succeed? What would you advise that they look at or what they should do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would advise that they gamify this process. People are influenced by prizes and competition and money and all kinds of different things. And especially if you're in a sales role or something like that, salespeople are influenced by bonuses and sales and different things. So I would 100% gamify it. I have some customers that pay out, just as an example, $5 for every review request that was sent out using a software that can be tracked on. And then $30 for every positive review that the person on their team gains. So they're getting recognized for not only just participating in it, but also for gaining that positive feedback. Gift cards, PTO, days off, like whatever it is, whatever that influences your team, I would gamify this process across the board.
Love it. Katie, thank you for joining me on this very special episode, a marketing education episode of Automation Unplugged.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for asking me to come on. It's been a lot of fun. I was a little nervous at first, but I've had a lot of fun doing this. So thanks, Ron.
Katie, you're a natural. So you did a great job.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.
All right. See you soon.